The American Civil War had ended, but for one Missouri farmer, the war was just beginning. You remember him. The poncho. The squint. The cigar clenched between his teeth like a loaded pistol. The man who spat tobacco juice on a dog and made it cinema history. The Outlaw Josey Wales hit theaters in the summer of 1976, and 50 years later, in 2026, it still stands as one of the greatest westerns ever shot. But here's what nobody talks about. Of the 15 unforgettable faces who rode through that film, most of them are gone now. One died alone in a hospital bed, her death kept secret for 6 weeks. One ended his own life rather than face one more day of pain. One walked out of life-saving surgery and never woke up. And one is still standing, 95 years old, still directing movies, still refusing to slow down. Let's see where the cast of The Outlaw Josey Wales ended up in 2026. Close your eyes for a second. It's the summer of 1976. The country is celebrating its bicentennial. Red, white, and blue is on every porch. The drive-ins are packed. Gas is 59 cents a gallon. And on a Friday night, you're piling into the family station wagon, or sneaking in through the back door of the local theater, because Clint Eastwood has a new Western. Not just any Western. The one your daddy said was the best he'd ever seen. The smell of popcorn, the glow of the screen, the way the whole audience leaned forward when Josey Wales cocked that pistol. That was the world this movie walked into. And now, 50 years later, let's count them down. Number 15, we have John Veros, who played the Comanchero henchman Chato. Born in Greece in 1905, Veros was already 70 years old when he stepped onto that set. A working-class character actor who'd spent decades grinding through Hollywood without ever becoming a household name. He had one of those faces. You'd seen it 100 times and never once known the name. In 2026, John Veros is long gone. He passed away in 1996 at the age of 90. No big obituary, no tribute reel, just a quiet ending for a man who had spent 70 years showing up, hitting his marks, and disappearing. But here's the part nobody talks about. Veros was the last working actor of his generation, born before World War I, to appear in a Clint Eastwood film. He wasn't a star. He was a witness, a piece of old Hollywood, riding through one of the last great westerns. He didn't get the spotlight. He got something better. He got to be there. Number 14, we have Woodrow Parfrey, the slick-talking carpetbagger who tries to sell Josey Wales a miracle cure, all in one of the funniest scenes in the entire film. Born in New York City in 1922, Parfrey was 53 when he filmed those scenes, and he made every second count. That smirk. That sales pitch. The way Eastwood spits tobacco juice across his white suit, it's one of the most quoted scenes in Western history. But Woodrow Parfrey never lived to see his fame catch up to him. He died of a heart attack on July 29, 1984, at just 61 years old in Los Angeles. And here's the lesser-known fact. Parfrey appeared in 3 different Clint Eastwood films before he died. He was part of Clint's unofficial repertory company. The kind of actor Eastwood quietly kept calling back. He never asked for credit. He never asked for the spotlight. He just showed up and stole every scene he was in. Number 13, we have John Russell, who played the chilling Confederate raider Bloody Bill Anderson. Born in 1921, Russell was a Marine. A real one. He came home from World War II with a Silver Star, and then walked straight into Hollywood like it was just the next mission. By the time he played Bloody Bill, he was 55 and a Western icon in his own right, having starred in the TV series Lawman. But the cigarettes caught up with him. John Russell died on January 19, 1991, of complications from emphysema at the age of 70. A Marine who survived Guadalcanal, brought down by a habit he'd picked up between takes. And the lesser-known truth? On the set of Josey Wales, Russell scared the crew. Not because he was difficult, but because his stillness was so absolute, so cold, that even Eastwood gave him space. Some men play villains. John Russell was the real thing on camera, and one of the kindest men in Hollywood off it. But here's the part we'll come back to. The men who hunted Josey Wales in this film, every single one of them is dead. Every single one. Hold that thought. Number 12, we have Royal Dano, who played the gambler Ten-Spot. Born in 1922 in New York, Dano had one of the most distinctive voices in Hollywood history. Lincoln-esque. Haunting. He even played Abraham Lincoln in a Disneyland animatronic that's still running today. By the time he showed up in Josey Wales at 54, he had already been working for 30 years. In 2026, Royal Dano has been gone for over 3 decades. He died on May 15, 1994, of a heart attack at the age of 71. But here's the part that hits hardest. Royal Dano's voice still speaks to children every single day at Disneyland's Hall of Presidents. Even in death, his voice is performing. Even now, somewhere in California, a kid is hearing Royal Dano speak and has no idea the man passed away 32 years ago. That's not a career. That's immortality with a price tag of 1 Disney ticket. Number 11, we have Paula Truman, the feisty, sharp-tongued Grandma Sarah, who travels with Josie on his journey west. Truman was a Broadway veteran born in 1897. Yes, 1897. She was 78 years old when she filmed The Outlaw Josey Wales, and she stole every single scene she was in. Calling Josie a cold-blooded killer, spitting fire at every man on screen. Honestly, she was the heart of the film. She died of natural causes in 1994 at the age of 96. And here's what nobody knows. Paula Truman was performing on Broadway before talkies even existed. She watched Hollywood be born. She watched it explode. She watched it conquer the world. And then she rode off into the sunset with Clint Eastwood at 78 years old, like it was nothing. Some people retire at 65. Paula Truman was just getting warmed up. Number 10, we have William O'Connell, the cowardly ferryman Sim Carstairs, the one who switches sides depending on who's holding the rifle. Born in 1929, O'Connell was a longtime Eastwood collaborator who appeared in everything from Paint Your Wagon to Every Which Way But Loose. He was a working man's actor. Reliable. Unflashy. Always there. And he was there, right up until the very end. William O'Connell passed away on January 15, 2024, at the age of 94 in Sherman Oaks, California. He was one of the very last surviving cast members of the Outlaw Josey Wales. Here's the lesser-known fact. O'Connell outlived almost every co-star in this film. He saw the Western die. He saw it come back. He saw streaming kill the studio system. He saw it all. And he never stopped working. The ferryman switched sides one last time and rowed himself across. Number 9, we have Joyce Jameson, who played the saloon woman Rose. Born in 1932, Jameson was a stunning blonde comedian best remembered as one of the fun girls on The Andy Griffith Show. By 1976, she was 44 years old and had been working steadily for decades, but Hollywood was changing, and the kind of roles she'd built her career on were drying up. And here's where the story turns dark. On January 16, 1987, Joyce Jameson died by suicide in Burbank, California. She was just 59 years old. Friends said the loss of work, the loneliness, and the quiet ache of being forgotten became too much to carry. She was beautiful. She was funny. She was beloved. And Hollywood let her slip through its fingers anyway. Number 8, we have Sheb Wooley, who played Travis Cobb. Born in Oklahoma in 1921, Wooley wasn't just an actor, he was a country music legend. He sang the ridiculous, unforgettable 1958 novelty hit The Purple People Eater. Yes, that guy. He's also the man behind the famous Wilhelm scream you've heard in literally hundreds of movies, from Star Wars to every Disney film made since. In 2026, Sheb Wooley has been gone for 23 years. He died on September 16, 2003, at the age of 82, after a 7-year battle with leukemia. Here's the lesser-known fact. Every single time you watch a Star Wars film, every time a stormtrooper falls off a ledge and lets out that classic "Arr," that's Sheb Wooley. The man who rode with Josey Wales in 1976 is still screaming in movie theaters in 2026. He sang about a one-eyed, one-horned flying purple people eater. And then he became the most heard voice in Hollywood history. Number 7, we have Matt Clark, who played the bounty hunter Kelly. Born in 1936 in Washington, Matt Clark was the quintessential character actor. You've seen him in The Cowboys, in Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, in Back to the Future Part 3. He was 40 when he played Kelly, and he kept working for 50 more years. And then, the news came in. Matt Clark passed away in 2025 at the age of 89. He was one of the very last living members of the Josey Wales cast when he died. Here's what nobody talks about. Matt Clark wasn't just an actor. He was a writer, a director, and a teacher. He spent the last decades of his life passing the craft on to younger actors who never even knew his name. A quiet legend. A working man, a Western hero who never asked to be one. Number 6, we have Sam Bottoms, who played the young, dying Confederate soldier Jamie. Born in Santa Barbara in 1955, Bottoms was just 20 years old when he filmed Josey Wales. Fresh off Apocalypse Now. Beautiful. Intense. The little brother of Hollywood royalty Timothy Bottoms. The whole industry was waiting to see what he'd become. What he became was a working actor, a devoted father, a husband. He kept his head down, he kept showing up. And then in 2008, everything stopped. Sam Bottoms died on December 16, 2008, of a brain tumor. He was 53 years old. Here's the part that hurts. Sam Bottoms had only just been diagnosed earlier that year. His decline was brutal. His friends said he stayed gentle, stayed kind, stayed himself, all the way to the end. The boy who died in Josey's arms on screen died too young in real life too. Number 5. We have Sheriff Bob Bloom. Wait, hold that thought. Let's get to number 4 first. Number 5 is Geraldine Keams, who played Little Moonlight, the young Navajo woman Josie rescues. Born in 1951 in Flagstaff, Arizona, Keams was 24 years old when she made her film debut in the Outlaw Josey Wales. A Navajo woman in a Hollywood Western, given a real role with real dignity that almost never happened in 1976. And here's the beautiful part. In 2026, Geraldine Keams is still very much alive. 74 years old. Still acting. You've seen her recently in Reservation Dogs, Rutherford Falls, and Dark Winds. She is one of the only surviving members of this entire cast. Here's what nobody knows. Geraldine Keams went on to become one of the most respected Indigenous actresses in American history, and it all started with a Clint Eastwood Western that gave her a chance when no one else would. The girl who survived in the film is still surviving in real life. Number 4, we have Richard Farnsworth, who had a small but unforgettable role as a Comanchero. Born in 1920, Farnsworth was a stuntman before he was an actor. He fell off horses for John Wayne, he doubled for Roy Rogers. He spent 40 years getting bruised and broken so other men could look brave on camera. By the time he was in his 60s, Hollywood finally let him step in front of the lens. And he became one of the most beloved character actors of the late 20th century, even earning an Oscar nomination for The Straight Story. But his ending was the kind nobody likes to talk about. On October 6, 2000, Richard Farnsworth was suffering from terminal cancer. The pain was unbearable. He was partially paralyzed. He couldn't ride a horse anymore, and for a man like Farnsworth, that wasn't living. He died by suicide at his ranch in Lincoln, New Mexico. He was 80 years old. He was a cowboy until the very last second. He left this world the way he lived in it, on his own terms. Number 3, we have Will Sampson, the towering Comanche chief 10 Bears, who shares one of the greatest scenes in Western history with Clint Eastwood. The words of life and death scene. Ask any old-school Eastwood fan, they'll tell you it's the heart of the entire film. Born in 1933, Sampson was a Muskogee Creek artist, rodeo performer, and actor who broke through with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in 1975. By the time he played 10 Bears, he was a star. But behind the camera, his health was failing. Will Sampson died on June 3, 1987, at just 53 years old, of complications from a heart and lung transplant. He went into surgery hoping for more time. He never came out. And here's the part that breaks your heart. Sampson was the rare Native American actor in 1970s Hollywood who refused to play stereotypes. He fought for dignity. He fought for representation. He fought for the truth. He gave 10 Bears his soul. And the world gave him 53 years. Number 2, we have Sondra Locke, who played Laura Lee, the young woman Josie takes in on his journey. Born in 1944 in Shelbyville, Tennessee, Locke was 31 when she filmed The Outlaw Josey Wales, and on that set, her life changed forever. She and Clint Eastwood began a relationship that would define both of their lives for the next 13 years. They lived together. They made 6 more films together, and then it ended, in one of the most public, painful breakups in Hollywood history. In 2026, Sondra Locke is gone. She died on November 3, 2018, of cardiac arrest stemming from breast and bone cancer. She was 74 years old, and here's the strangest part. Her death was kept private. For 6 weeks. Nobody knew. Not the press, not even most of her friends. It was only revealed in mid-December when a reporter found the death certificate. She lived loud. She loved loud. She fought loud. And then, she slipped out of this world in absolute silence. Number 1, We have the man himself, Clint Eastwood, Josey Wales, the icon. Born May 31, 1930, Clint was 46 years old when he directed and starred in the Outlaw Josey Wales. He was already a star. After this film, he became a legend. In 2026, Clint Eastwood is 95 years old. He turned 95 on May 31, 2025, and as of this moment, he is still alive, still working, still directing. His most recent film, Juror Number 2, came out in 2024, his 40th as a director. He's the only living member of the original Josey Wales main cast still walking the earth at the level he is. Marriages? 2. Children? 8, by 6 different women, and he's been honest about all of it. Awards? 4 Oscars. Box office? Billions. Cultural impact? Incalculable. Here's the part nobody talks about. Clint Eastwood has outlived nearly every co-star in this film. He has buried friends. He has buried enemies. He has buried entire generations of Hollywood. And he is still, somehow, the last man standing in the saddle. When he goes, an entire era of American cinema goes with him. But for now, he rides on. 15 names, 15 lives, 1 legendary Western. What strikes me about the Outlaw Josey Wales in 2026 isn't just how many of these actors are gone. It's how many of them gave everything they had to a single summer of work 50 years ago, and how that work still echoes through every dusty trail and every whispered campfire scene in the Westerns that came after. Some died too young. Some died alone. Some died on their own terms. And one is still here, still squinting into the sun, still daring time to take him. Which one of these performances stayed with you the longest? The grandma with the sharp tongue? The dying soldier in Josey's arms? Or the chief who looked Josey Wales in the eye and chose peace? Tell us in the comments below. And if you loved this one, stay tuned. Because next time, we're riding into another classic that shaped a generation, and you won't believe where its cast ended up in 2026.